Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. OK, let's embark on a 1-hour sprint to understand and implement absolute and fixed positioning in CSS, culminating in a master level grasp, within the given time frame, of course. We'll cover the core concepts, common use cases, potential pitfalls, and even some practical examples. Ready? Let's dive in. Tutorial: Mastering Absolute and Fixed Positioning in CSS, in 1 hour. The foundation: Understanding normal flow, 5 minutes. What is normal flow? Before we mess with positioning, it's crucial to understand the default way HTML elements are rendered on a web page. This is called normal flow. Think of it as a river. Elements flow sequentially, based on their order in the HTML code. Block versus inline block level elements, example div, p, h1, take up the full width available and start on a new line. They have top and bottom margins. Inline elements, example span, a, img, take up only as much width as their content requires and flow within the same line. They don't respect top and bottom margins in the same way. Example, normal flow. Explanation. The 3 div elements, by default, stack vertically on top of each other because they are block level elements in normal flow. 2. Introducing positioning, position property, 5 minutes. The position property. The position property is the key to changing an element's default behavior in the normal flow. It has 5 main values. Static, default: the element follows normal flow rules. Top, right, bottom, and left properties have no effect. Relative, the element is positioned relative to its normal position. Top, right, bottom, and left properties do have an effect, shifting the element without affecting the position of surrounding elements. Think of it as nudging the element without disturbing the flow. Absolute, the element is removed from normal flow. It's positioned relative to its nearest positioned ancestor, an ancestor with a position value other than static. If no positioned ancestor is found, it's positioned relative to the HTML element, the initial containing block. Fixed, the element is removed from normal flow and positioned relative to the viewport, the browser window. It stays in the same position even when the page is scrolled. Sticky, a hybrid of relative and fixed. The element behaves like relative until it reaches a specified scroll position, at which point it becomes fixed. 3. Deep dive, absolute positioning, 20 minutes. Core concept. Absolute positioning completely removes an element from normal flow. The element no longer takes up space in the document, and other elements flow as if it doesn't exist. The power of the positioned ancestor. This is critical. An absolutely positioned element will look up the DOM tree for its nearest positioned ancestor, an ancestor with position, relative, position, absolute, position, fixed, or position, sticky. If a positioned ancestor is found, the top, right, bottom, and left properties of the absolutely positioned element are relative to that ancestor's content box. If no positioned ancestor is found, the absolutely positioned element is positioned relative to the initial containing block, the HTML element. This often means relative to the top left corner of the browser window. Top, right, bottom, left. These properties define the offset of the absolutely positioned element from the edges of its positioned ancestor's content box. Values can be in pixels, px, percentages, percent, ems, m, or other CSS units. Example 1, positioned ancestor asterisk. Asterisk explanation asterisk the container has position, relative. The absolute box is positioned 20 px from the top and 30 px from the left of the container. The text below the container is displayed as if the absolute box does not take up any space. Asterisk example 2, no positioned ancestor asterisk. Asterisk explanation asterisk no parent element has position, relative, absolute, or fixed. The absolute box is positioned 20 px from the top and 30 px from the left of the HTML element, effectively the top left corner of the browser window. The text below is still affected by the absolute box and is pushed down. Asterisk use cases for absolute asterisk. Asterisk overlapping elements asterisk create layers or overlays, example tooltips, image captions. Asterisk precise placement asterisk position elements exactly where you want them within a container, regardless of normal flow. Asterisk complex layouts asterisk create layouts where elements need to be visually independent of their position in the HTML source. Asterisk common pitfalls with absolute asterisk. Asterisk forgetting the positioned ancestor asterisk this is the most common mistake. Always ensure that the parent element you want to position relative to has position, relative, absolute, or fixed applied. Asterisk content overflow asterisk if the absolutely positioned element is larger than its positioned ancestor, it can overflow and cause layout issues. Asterisk accessibility concerns asterisk relying heavily on absolute positioning can make your site less accessible, as screen readers may not interpret the visual layout correctly. 4. Deep dive, fixed positioning, 15 minutes. Asterisk core concept asterisk fixed positioning is similar to absolute, but with one crucial difference, the element is always positioned relative to the viewport, the browser window. It stays in the same location on the screen, even when the user scrolls. Asterisk no positioned ancestor matters asterisk the nearest positioned ancestor is ignored for fixed positioning. The top, right, bottom, and left properties always refer to the edges of the viewport. Asterisk example asterisk. Asterisk explanation asterisk the fixed header stays at the top of the browser window, even when you scroll down the page. Note the margin top on the .content element to prevent the header from overlapping the content. Asterisk use cases for fixed asterisk. Asterisk fixed headers / navigation bars asterisk keep navigation or branding visible at all times. Asterisk back to top buttons asterisk provide an easy way for users to scroll back to the top of the page. Asterisk persistent chat windows asterisk maintain a chat interface in a fixed location. Asterisk common pitfalls with fixed asterisk. Asterisk overlapping content asterisk fixed elements can obscure other content if you don't account for their size and position, as seen in the example above with margin top. Asterisk performance concerns asterisk excessive use of fixed positioning can potentially impact scrolling performance, especially on mobile devices. Be mindful of the number of fixed elements on your page. Asterisk mobile viewport issues asterisk on mobile devices, the viewport can sometimes behave differently than on desktops. Test your fixed elements thoroughly on various mobile devices and browsers. VZ index, controlling stacking order, 5 minutes. Asterisk the z-index property asterisk when you use position, absolute or position, fixed, elements can overlap. The z-index property determines the stacking order of these elements. Elements with higher z-index values are displayed on top of elements with lower values. Asterisk only works on positioned elements asterisk z-index only has an effect on elements with a position value other than static. Asterisk example asterisk. Asterisk explanation asterisk the green box, box 2, has a higher z-index than the red box, box 1, so it appears on top, even though it's defined later in the HTML. Asterisk stacking contexts. Asterisk z-index can be complex. Elements form stacking contexts. The z-index values are only relative within the same stacking context. This is an advanced topic, but be aware that it exists. Creating a new stacking context involves position, relative, position, absolute, position, fixed, or other properties like transform or opacity with values other than none or 1. 6. Best practices and practical tips, 5 minutes. Asterisk use sparingly. Asterisk avoid over-reliance on absolute and fixed positioning. They can make your layout harder to maintain and understand. Asterisk plan your layout. Asterisk before you start coding, sketch out your layout and identify which elements need to be positioned absolutely or fixed. Asterisk test thoroughly. Asterisk test your layout on different browsers, devices, and screen sizes. Asterisk consider accessibility. Asterisk ensure that your layout is still accessible to users with disabilities. Asterisk use CSS preprocessors, like SAS or LESS. These can help you organize your CSS and make it more maintainable, especially when dealing with complex layouts that use positioning. Asterisk dev tools are your friend. Asterisk use your browser's developer tools to inspect the computed styles of your elements and understand how positioning is affecting them. Asterisk document your code. Asterisk add comments to your CSS to explain why you're using positioning in certain ways. 7. Code example, simple image gallery with absolute positioning, 5 minutes. Let's create a simplified image gallery with navigation using absolute positioning. Explanation asterisk. 1 gallery container asterisk position, relative, is the positioned ancestor. Overflow, hidden, hides the images that aren't currently active. 2 gallery image asterisk position, absolute, all images are stacked on top of each other. Opacity, 0, makes them invisible by default. Transition creates a smooth fade-in effect. 3 gallery image dot active asterisk opacity, 1, makes the selected image visible. 4 gallery nav asterisk position, absolute, positions the navigation buttons at the bottom of the container. Transform, translatex, -50%, centers the navigation. 5 JavaScript asterisk toggles the active class on images when buttons are clicked. This is a simplified version. A real-world gallery would likely have more features and dynamic image loading. But it demonstrates how absolute positioning can be used to create a complex visual layout within a container. Make sure to replace the image1.jpg, image2.jpg, and image3.jpg with your own image file paths or URLs. 8. Your turn, practice and experiment, 5 minutes remaining. Asterisk modify the code. Asterisk try changing the top, right, bottom, and left values to see how the elements are positioned. Asterisk add more elements. Asterisk experiment with adding more content to the page and see how the positioned elements interact with it. Asterisk try different scenarios. Asterisk create a floating sidebar using fixed positioning. Asterisk use the dev tools. Asterisk inspect the elements and their computed styles to understand what's going on. Conclusion. In this 1-hour crash course, we've covered the fundamental concepts of absolute and fixed positioning in CSS. You've learned how they work, their use cases, potential pitfalls, and even built a small image gallery using absolute positioning. Mastering these techniques requires practice and experimentation, but you now have a solid foundation to build upon. Keep coding, keep experimenting, and keep learning. Good luck. Okay, let's dive into mastering absolute and fixed positioning in CSS within an hour. This tutorial will be detailed, practical, and include code examples to help you solidify your understanding. We'll cover the core concepts, common use cases, potential pitfalls, and best practices. Tutorial, Absolute and Fixed Positioning in CSS, 1-hour masterclass. Introduction, 5 minutes. What is positioning? CSS positioning controls how elements are placed on a web page relative to their normal flow. The default is static positioning. Other options are relative, absolute, fixed, and sticky. We'll focus on absolute and fixed. Why use absolute and fixed? Precise placement. They allow you to position elements exactly where you want them, overriding the normal document flow. Overlapping / layering. Create visual effects like tooltips, modals, or elements that float over the content. UI/UX enhancement. Implement sticky headers / footers, fixed navigation menus, or dynamic overlays. Key concepts. Understanding position, top, right, bottom, and left properties. 2. Absolute positioning, 20 minutes. Definition. An element with position, absolute, is removed from the normal document flow. It doesn't affect the position of other elements. It is positioned relative to its nearest positioned ancestor. Nearest positioned ancestor. The closest parent element that has a position value of relative, absolute, fixed, or sticky. If no positioned ancestor. If no positioned ancestor is found, the element is positioned relative to the initial containing block, usually the HTML element, essentially the viewport. Core principles. 1. Position, absolute, declaration. The foundation. 2. Top, right, bottom, left. These properties define the offset from the edges of the elements containing block, the positioned ancestor. Values can be pixels, px, percentages, percent, ems, rems, rem, etc. 3. Z-index. Determines the stacking order of elements. Elements with higher Z-index values appear in front of elements with lower values. Default is auto. 4. Default values. If top, right, bottom, and left are not specified, the element will initially appear in the position it would have occupied in the normal flow before being absolutely positioned. Code example 1, simple absolute positioning. Explanation. Container is position, relative. This makes it the positioned ancestor for absolute box. Without position, relative, absolute box would be positioned relative to the HTML element. Absolute box is position, absolute, top, 20px, left, 50px. This places the top left corner of absolute box 20px from the top and 50px from the left edge of container. Code example 2, no positioned ancestor. Explanation. No parent element has a position property set, so absolute box is positioned relative to the HTML element, the viewport. Top, 50px, right, 20px, places it 50px from the top and 20px from the right edge of the browser window. Code example 3, using Z-index. Explanation. Even though box 2 comes after box 1 in the HTML, box 1 has a higher Z-index, so it appears on top. 3. Fixed positioning, 20 minutes. Definition. An element with position, fixed, is also removed from the normal document flow and doesn't affect other elements. Crucially, it's positioned relative to the viewport, the browser window, and remains fixed in that position even when the page is scrolled. Core principles. 1. Position, fixed, declaration. The key. 2 top, right, bottom, left asterisk define the offset from the viewport edges. 3 scrolling independence asterisk the element stays in place while the rest of the content scrolls behind it. 4 z-index asterisk important for fixed elements to ensure they are visible above other content. 5 can be clipped by parent with overflow, hidden or similar. Asterisk code example 1, simple fixed header. Asterisk explanation asterisk. Asterisk dot header is position, fixed, top, 0, left, 0, width, 100%. This makes it stick to the top of the viewport and stretch across the entire width. Asterisk margin top, 60px, is added to dot content to prevent the content from being hidden behind the fixed header. The value depends on the header's height. Asterisk z-index is important to ensure the header is always above other elements. Asterisk code example 2, fixed sidebar. Asterisk explanation asterisk. Asterisk dot sidebar is position, fixed, top, 0, left, 0, width, 200px, height, 100%. This makes it stick to the left side of the viewport and extend the full height. Asterisk margin left, 240px, is added to dot content to prevent the content from being hidden behind the fixed sidebar. Asterisk common use cases for fixed positioning asterisk. Asterisk sticky navigation asterisk making a navigation menu stay visible at the top of the screen as the user scrolls. Asterisk chat windows slash widgets asterisk floating a chat window or contact form at the bottom right of the screen. Asterisk back to top buttons asterisk a button that appears in a fixed location and allows users to quickly jump to the top of the page. Asterisk cookie consent banners asterisk a banner that sticks to the top or bottom of the screen until the user interacts with it. 4. Potential pitfalls and best practices, 10 minutes. Asterisk overlap asterisk absolutely and fixed positioned elements can overlap other content. Use margin or padding on the surrounding elements to create space. Asterisk responsiveness asterisk. Asterisk viewport awareness asterisk when using position, fixed, consider different screen sizes. What looks good on a desktop might not work well on a mobile device. Use media queries to adjust the position and size of fixed elements based on screen width. Asterisk relative units asterisk consider using percentages or viewport units, VW, VH, for top, right, bottom, and left values to make the positioning more responsive. Asterisk content flow disruption asterisk remember that absolutely and fixed positioned elements are removed from the normal document flow. This can create unexpected layout issues if you're not careful. Asterisk z-index management asterisk avoid using very high z-index values, example 9999. This can lead to unexpected stacking issues if other elements also use high z-index values. Use z-index strategically within specific contexts. Asterisk accessibility asterisk ensure that fixed and absolutely positioned elements do not obscure important content or make the page difficult to navigate for users with disabilities. V-code example 4, responsive fixed header, media queries, 5 minutes. Asterisk explanation asterisk the at media, max width, 600px, query adjusts the header's padding and font size on smaller screens, and adjusts the content margin. You'd adjust the max width value to match your specific design requirements. 6. Q&A and wrap up, 5 minutes. Asterisk address any questions or confusion. Asterisk recap the key takeaways. Asterisk position, absolute, positions elements relative to their nearest positioned ancestor. Asterisk position, fixed, positions elements relative to the viewport. Asterisk top, right, bottom, and left define the offsets. Asterisk Z-index controls stacking order. Asterisk consider responsiveness and accessibility when using these positioning methods. 7. Further exploration, beyond the 1 hour. Asterisk CSS transforms asterisk combine position with transform for more complex animations and effects. Asterisk advanced Z-index contexts asterisk understanding how Z-index works within different stacking contexts. Asterisk real-world projects asterisk practice using absolute and fixed positioning in various web development projects. This tutorial provides a comprehensive overview of absolute and fixed positioning. Experiment with the code examples, explore different use cases, and you'll quickly become proficient in these powerful CSS techniques. Good luck.